Hey, everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
And HBOMax just dropped out of nowhere first official full trailer thing for House of the Dragon, the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel. It's Comic-Con weekend, so I kind of thought we'd be getting this maybe tomorrow or Friday or something, but they were like, screw it, let's drop it now. So,
let's be first.
Yeah, so screw it. Let's react to it. Let's do
it.
Let's I'm gonna do the fancy one. There we go. Yeah.
Hey.
All right. Let's watch this puppy.
He's afoot.
Are they doing the pre-trailer thing? Yep.
Stop doing that, people. It's bad and dumb, and you shouldn't do it.
The dream. It was clearer than a memory. And I heard the sound of thundering hooves.
It's good to see they've still maintained the quality of the production design.
Yeah.
It's my heir upon the Iron Throne. And all the dragons roared as one.
Ka!
They consider the matter urgent. That of your succession.
And I like too that the scenery still looks very similar to what we've seen. So it's just like this has been this way forever.
Yeah.
I will not be made to choose between
Smith.
my mother and my daughter.
I hope this is the thing that gets people talking about Matt Smith again since Doctor Who, because he has not had a lot of luck.
Knives will come out. You are the king. Your duty is to take a new wife.
I have decided to name a new heir. I'm your heir. War is afoot.
Do you think the realm will ever accept me as their queen?
A woman would not.
She looks eerily close to Daenerys.
Yeah. August 21st.
Soon.
There are power men should never have trifled with.
Jaggedy.
If Rhaenyra comes into power, she could cut off any challenge to her succession.
By cutting off their heads.
I am to have the Iron Throne. She will block my way.
Our hearts remain as one.
Oh, our hearts were never one.
Seems like we're gonna get a lot more battles.
Oh, this is going to be a violent show.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Game of Thrones wasn't violent, but
Yeah. Where before we just got Battle of the Bastards or the battle here and there, one big one a season. I think we're gonna get several battles.
this is going to be a battle-heavy show.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. I'm so into it. I'm so here for it. Yeah, like we were saying, they've done a really good job of maintaining the production design from the first show, but it looks just different enough that you can believe it's newer, because this is obviously a very long time in the past. But like you said, there's also things it's this is here for a while.
Yeah, and you can see kind of where the same architecture or the same the meeting of everyone where the Hand of the King and all of that our meeting, those tables look the same but maybe a little bit more polished because it's younger, that the stuff is but that they still maintain all of these relics and all of these buildings and all of these furniture from the past, where it was just there's a deep tradition that they're holding on to from back then that we're seeing it still be there in the background.
Well, and that's smart too from a production standpoint, because it lets you save on designs. It lets you save on costs, basically, if you're just kind of redressing something that you already have a set for. I mean, so that when you're already talking about a show that's millions of dollars per episode, you find anywhere you can to maybe save a couple bucks here and there. So, I mean, if I'm a casual Game of Thrones fan, I've never seen the whole show beginning to end. I've basically seen enough of it, plus the entire last season, which is what it is. But So it's one of the things I like it. It's a lot to dive into, and I've just recently started diving into Stranger Things. So Game of Thrones is somewhere on the list. But I still
Let's get
feel
Meg
like
to watch all of them.
I'm going to. There's so many things to watch.
I know.
Just so much. But it just, it feels, I was going somewhere with this. It feels very familiar enough that someone who's even a casual Game of Thrones fan is going to look at this and say, okay, like I'll check this out. Whereas if you're a hardcore Game of Thrones fan, like you're already bought your HBOMax subscription at this point. But if you're on the more casual side or maybe not as big a fan, this was a good trailer to really pitch the plot of the season. Like we now know what we're going to get, which is maybe a bit better than what a certain other swords and shield fantasy franchise has been doing with their trailers. When I look at these two trailers side by side, it's kind of like, wow, one of these looks a lot better than the other.
And you look at it and it's just like, the production design is great. When you go to the first season of Game of Thrones, like you could see the difference between the budget from the beginning to the end, where like they're speaking of things or they're referencing of things or they're showing slight parts. So then like you get some of these like wonderful battles, like the Battle of the Bastards and stuff, where you're like, so much money went into this. And so it seems this show is going to be more like the later seasons of Game of Thrones in like cost wise, hopefully not in like story wise, because the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones are kind of flawless, like story wise. So I'm hoping that this story is really, really good because it looks good from a visual standpoint. But after having the last season, which I don't hate as much as other people, but I still definitely have my issues with it, especially the last episode. But so I'm hoping that this show is just like brings back everyone who was a massive fan of the show to be like, no, we know what we're doing and we have a good stories to tell.
Well, and they're playing so far in the past that they've got a bit of a safety buffer. They don't have to worry about too much to do with canon and things like that. It gives them a chance to play around in their own sandbox a little bit more. It's I think it's a little soon. I know they've been working on this for a long time, but it does feel a little because season 8 of Game of Thrones was not that long ago. Like people still talk about it. And
I mean, it was pre-COVID, so I know those years all seem like 1 year, but like we're in 3 years of COVID right now.
I know it's been about 3 years, but at the same time, like that's
like 4 or 5 years since the last episode.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but it's also one of those like, but again, people still talk about how bad it was. Like, it's not like something that's faded into obscurity and we occasionally reference. Like, no, people still to this day
got something to prove.
So they've got something to prove. So I hope that it works more in their favor. I hope people are more interested to see something fresh and different, as opposed to feeling like, well, this looks like I'm still mad about the last season of Game of Thrones. So,
and when you see The Stray is where when it was adapting the book, because like it did not adapt the book word for word or story for story. Like they definitely changed things, some for like the better. But people say, oh yeah, when they didn't have the books to reference is when the show kind of went off. They got something to reference right there for this show.
Not only that, but like you can't use that as an excuse when like The Boys has deviated so far from the source material, but just had one of the best seasons of streaming TV like of the year, or other streaming shows like that are based on a property, whether it's a comic book or a book, and then they deviate, but people still like them. So you can only use that as an excuse so far, because at the end of the day, like these people are still writers.
I mean, they didn't use it as an excuse. We as fans notice that. Like Benioff and Weiss are brilliant at adapting, but not at creating their own shit. And we've even seen that now with the names of the guys who've made the Avengers movies.
Oh, the Russo brothers.
Russo brothers. Yeah. Like they're great at making the comic book, adapting from the comics, definitely changing things
Yeah.
from the comics, but good at adapting, and their own like original stories and movies haven't done so well.
Yeah.
So there's people that are just like, we're good at taking something and yeah, we're going to deviate and yeah, it's going to be different, but it has a source that we can find the love and like the meaning or the like feel of the source, even if we change things up, and then just doing their own thing does not work. So hopefully with this, that it's just like, oh, we got something of reference, which that reads more like a textbook than an actual like story.
Yeah.
So definitely there's going to be hopefully story elements that I don't know who's show running this is bringing it into.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things like you can't always use the source material as a reason to expect something to be good or bad, because even when things are based on source material, they're still not great. Looking at you, Aragon movie.
And those books are so good.
I'm never letting that one go. But hey, let us know what you guys thought of this House of the Dragon trailer. Are you excited? How did you feel about season 8 of Game of Thrones? Where are you sitting with all of this? You can let us know down in the comments or let us know on Twitter. All of our Twitter stuff is down in the description of this episode. You can like the video and subscribe to our channel, especially for this weekend, because Comic-Con, people. So many things. Anyway, we're going to go watch a whole bunch of those things now. So we got work to do. So bye.